Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Amy and today I figured I'd do a talks and tea video just because it's been a little while since I caught up with you all and there's a few things I wanted to chat about. Today I actually have a topic that I want to talk about a little bit and we'll kind of get there because I do have notes because, well, I'm a note person and so it happens. I'm forcing Millie to join me. She's not sure if she wants to be here or not, and there's a baby cow right here too, but you just can't see him. And shall we get him up here, guys? Ugh. Ugh. Two of the tree babies. Oh, thank you, Lokes. So Loki and Millie. See, Millie's really not about it now, but Loki might hang out. He might. We'll see. Anyway, so just to start it off, I think I should do this in every video. I don't know if I've done it thus far. My phone's going out, but we're gonna ignore it. I'm currently drinking Earl Grey because, well, it just kind of happens to be my go-to. It didn't used to be. My go-to used to be English breakfast, but Aaron loves Earl Grey, gray and tea combined into one. This video is starting off so well. But Aaron, so we always had Earl Grey in the house, and now it just kind of tends to be what I go for. You know, I guess that's what happens when you've lived with a person for 7 years? Have we lived together for 7 years? I think it's been 7 years. Wow, that's kind of a long time. I'm getting old, guys. Anyways, it's really hot right now. But the first thing I wanted to chat about, well, it's kind of two things in one. First, I have not read a ton in November just because November's been crazy and I've also been really tired. So I kid you not, I'll like sit down to read and just fall asleep, which is generally not like me. And it's just been busy. So I've only finished one book this month thus far, and it's the 15th of November. So we're halfway through November. I finished Wives and Daughters, which for the millionth time, most of you probably know this, I've been buddy reading with Matthew and Claire, which has been amazing. We're already talking about the next book that we're going to read together because we've all enjoyed it so much. And then I did read We Should All Be Feminists by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, which is more like a pamphlet slash like longer essay. It's like 40 pages and took me no time at all to read. And by 40 pages, I mean it's like this teeny tiny little thing. So that's the reading I've been doing this month. And I'm also going to start doing weekly vlogs. I have been watching Alina from Tall Tales, and she does these weekly reading vlogs, which are freaking awesome, and I just love them, and how real she is, and open and honest she is. I'll link her channel down below and some of her vlogs for you guys if you want to check it out and you don't already watch her. And so I figured I'd give it a shot. So be on the lookout for that, and you'll hear all of this information again because I already vlogged a little bit this morning and said most of those things. But the main thing I wanted to talk about is something that kind of came up last night in my conversation with Matthew and Claire. We use Snapchat. It's great. It's wonderful. And it was about why you read, because Claire was asking about how we kind of pick what we read or what we tend to go for, because she's been reading a lot of heavier books for Nonfiction November. And I just thought that was a really interesting topic. So I'm going to do my best not to rattle on and just kind of chat with you guys about this. So most of you guys know this. We're not going to go into super big detail about it. You know I don't do TBRs because I'm a mood reader. And I think for me, that means I read rather broadly. I like to read more intense stuff. I like to read classics, but I also like to read really lighthearted middle grade, and a trashy romance novel every now and then is just what a person needs. So I'm going to go backwards a little bit though. So when I was in high school, I read purely for pleasure, and I read a lot of fantasy. I was really into fantasy. You guys all know about how much I love Tamora Pierce and all of her books and what her books have meant to me growing up and what they still do mean to me now. So I read a ton of fantasy, and I also discovered the True Romance Novels for Teens or something. Regency True Romance Novels for Teens. And by true romance, they just mean like heartfelt. They're not actually true stories. And I adored them. And that kind of transitioned me into reading romance novels. And then in college, I started into the more trashy romance novels. And up until recently, I don't know what's happening on my phone, but people really want to talk to me, which is actually really bizarre because no one generally wants to. Anyway, got me more into trashy romance novels, and up until I would say 6 to 8 months ago, that's basically all I read. I'd sprinkle in a classic in every now and then, but for the most part, I read to escape. In college, if I wanted to read a book, which didn't happen a ton because I didn't have a ton of time, I wanted to read something I didn't have to think about. I could just like veg my brain, and I wanted a happy ending. And if that's what you're looking for, romance novels are great for that. But then I discovered BookTube and was getting these really great recommendations and was really enjoying reading these books that gave me something to chew on and really think about and mull over. And have just helped me realize a lot of things about my own opinions that I do have, other opinions that I don't have, or things that I just generally like don't have many thoughts on, but maybe would like to have thoughts on. So my reading has changed a lot in the last 6 months, but I still find myself picking books that sound good to me. Sorry, I'm super distracted by Millie. She wants to burrow in this blanket. Boogie, come here. Come here, Mills. You can sit in Mama's lap. If you own a dachshund, you know this is just what they do. They just need to burrow in things no matter where they're at. Anyway, where was I? So I just tend to pick up books that sound good at the time. And that's why I don't keep TBRs, because I might pick a TBR that's a bunch of really heavy stuff, but for whatever reason, that's not working for me for the month. So then I end up picking something totally different, and it's just that whole added extra layer of pressure. And that is a whole nother topic in itself that we don't need to go over. But so now I read for a larger variety of reasons. I do read to escape. I'm almost always reading to escape. It's this thing that I do for myself because I enjoy reading and the relaxation it brings me. And generally, even on the more heavy stuff, it makes me think about stuff, but it doesn't causes stress or anxiety in my life. Although that does happen with some topics, and sometimes that needs to happen because that's the point of what you're reading. But I also read to learn. I am one of those people, like I want to know things, and I want to think about things in a way that allows me to be skeptical of the information I'm receiving, and reading allows you to do that because there's a lot of different point of views out there, and with sources like BookTube, you get a lot of perspectives, and I really do enjoy that aspect of it. But I also just enjoy a good heartfelt story. Sometimes, I just feel like I need to laugh. Currently, I am reading a book that makes me laugh out loud, which generally I don't do a whole lot of, laughing out loud while I read books, not reading books. Anyways, I'm reading Furiously Happy by Jenny Lawson, which is a funny book about horrible things. And this is the second book in which she's published. I have not read her first, which is Let's Pretend This Never Happened, which I don't think it's taking away from this that I haven't read her first one, but I think I would maybe get like little bit nuanced things that I didn't quite grasp, like the fact that her dad was a taxidermist, which she mentions later on, but I think that played a bigger role in the first book. Like, this is her taxidermied raccoon. I kid you not. And that's what he looks like. And she's just this quirky lady who does these crazy, wacky things, but also struggles from a wide variety of mental illnesses. And as a person who also struggles from mental illnesses, which I've talked about on my channel, I like reading about it. And I also like reading about it when it's told in a humoristic way because it just makes it real. Sometimes we just gotta laugh about it. And so I'm really enjoying this. And it was exactly what I needed, especially after finishing Wives and Daughters, which, spoiler alert, I really enjoyed. But it's a classic. It's written in a vernacular and in a writing that we don't talk that way, so it takes at least me a little bit longer to wade through it. And just in general, it was a big book. It's about 650 pages, at least the copy that I had. And so generally that's why I read. I read to learn, I read to escape, I read to feel like I can relate to someone and that I'm not the only one in the world that feels this way or thinks this way. And those are the big reasons why I read. But I think there's lots of others. Like, I could sit here and talk to you guys forever, but we're already coming up on 10 minutes, and that's a long time for you guys just to listen to me rattle on about things. But that's why I read. I read because it brings me joy. I love owning physical books. I am notorious for checking books out from the library, loving them, and then going out and buying them. So I do that as well. You guys know I love used books, but just reading in general is a hobby of mine that also helps me, in my opinion, be a better person and be more aware of what's going on in the world. But I would love for you guys to tell me why you read. Do you read purely for pleasure? Do you read only because you want to learn? Do you read only nonfiction or fiction or some mixture thereof? I mean, I read so broadly now as far as topics and such, although I wish I do need to sprinkle in more nonfiction. I've been enjoying the nonfiction I've been reading, and I need to not forget about it, but that's a whole nother topic. But other than that, I mean, that's just kind of why I wanted to sit down and chat with you guys. I had a really good weekend, even though it's already Wednesday. I was able to go to a Garth Brooks concert. This will be the third time in my life that I've seen him. And oh my gosh, the first time I saw him, I was 5 years old, and I remember it. I vividly remember seeing him in concert. And then a few years ago, I saw him in Portland. And then this last weekend, I saw him in Spokane. And gosh, dang it if he's not such an incredible entertainer. And I grew up on Garth Brooks. Like, he was like the lifeblood of my music as a child. And just seeing him in concert is just, if you're a Garth Brooks fan and have the opportunity to see him, go watch him. I mean, like, he's such an entertainer. He's so good. And his music is so amazing. And I could just go on and on and on. But again, this video is getting too long. Other than that, I hope to read a little bit more throughout the rest of November and kind of get a few more books under my belt for the month, just because November will be slowing down for us because Aaron and I are actually spending Thanksgiving just the two of us, which has never happened because all of our family is out of town and we were unable to join due to a variety of circumstances. So it'll just be us for a long weekend, and I think Aaron gets a 5-day weekend out of the deal because he works 4/10s, and so that will be really nice. So just laying low and having fun and taking it easy. But let me know what's going on in your guys' life. Why do you read? I'd love to chat about it. Do you have a dachshund puppy at home or a pit bull puppy at home, or just a puppy or a critter or a hedgehog or some fuzzy thing? Maybe you have a human child. We can talk about that too. I love human babies. Human babies are great. I spend extended periods of time with 3-year-old human babies, which they are hysterical as well. But if you guys liked this video, please like it. And if you loved it, please subscribe, and we'll see you in my next video. Happy reading. We did it, Millie. I think that's the first time I took a sip of tea in this entire video, and that's kind of the point. Oh, it's like the perfect temperature right now. I don't think you'll like it. She's naked. I'm a bad dog, Mom.